YouTube, what's going on everybody? Today we're actually going from the bathroom to the kitchen. All right, we're working on a GE stove. The knob's missing and the burner light is always on even when the burners are off. Yeah. That being said, even if you don't have a GE stove, you're going to learn something from this video because we're going to go through all of the components and 99% of it's going to apply to any other brand. All right, so without further ado, let's pull this thing out and get started. So make sure when you go to service one of these things, you either unplug it or turn the breaker off, okay? So we got it pulled out. We swept up all the good stuff that's been sitting underneath there for a while. You know what I'm talking about. So what we'll do is take all the screws out the back panel and continue from there. Real quick before we continue, the parts I actually got off Amazon, but I found them through another site. So there's a way you can get the correct parts cheaper and faster if you get them through Amazon, but you do the research basically not on Amazon. It's hard to find that sometimes. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that at the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. All right, so starting from the terminal block, okay? Some ovens have 3 prongs on the cord, and then some have 4. All right, the difference is a neutral. Either it has a dedicated neutral or it's bound to ground. So if you look at mine, you see a red, a white, and a black wire. Those correspond with the oven's wiring, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Match the red with the red, white with the white, black with the black. All right, so if you're going to change the cord, that would be the difference. The ground and the white would be bound. Hey guys, real quick, this also applies to household dryers as well. Always make sure you verify that with the appliance and the cord that you bought. Usually there's a sticker on the unit that'll actually show you that. Make sure you wire that to the manufacturer's specifications, okay? So as we follow the wiring to the top, we see where the controls are, okay? So on an older oven and some of the newer ones, we have manual controls or mechanical. The newer ovens will have digital controls, like a circuit board with relays. All right, the only difference basically is you're pushing buttons on one and turning knobs on the other. They perform the same way. The mechanical controls is what we see here. We have infinite switches, which are 2 on the left and 2 on the right. Those control the stove, the burners. And then we have a... This is another reminder to make sure the oven is off or unplugged before you service it. Mechanical thermostat, which controls the oven. These 2 pieces here are LED lights, and this switch on the side is for the oven bulb, which is right here. On an oven, you have 2 different elements typically, a broil and a bake element. Now the broil element is the one up top and the bake element is the one down low. And then you see your oven light right here, which is controlled by the power switch here. So let's talk about an infinite switch, okay? This is a switch that allows you to vary the output onto a heater without having to run like a sensing probe or anything like that, like a thermostat would. So essentially there's a bimetal strip inside of this, and as the heat goes up, the metal bends and breaks contact, and that cuts the heat out. Now as it cools down, it reconnects, and then it starts the heat output once again. That's why you're able to set it to, you know, low, medium, high, medium, low, medium, high. All right, there's 5 connections on the back of this thing. Let's talk about those. So there's the 2 powers coming in, so L1 and L2. There's the 2 heaters coming out, H1 and H2, and then there's another terminal called 2P. Now that's the one we're really worried about today because that is the other side of the pilot light right here in purple, right? So the pilot light is jumped to each of these infinite switches, and when any of them are turned on, it sends power to this, the bulb itself. The other side of it, the white wire, is always on. So that way, whenever you use any of the burners, this light will come on and let you know there's a burner that's on. So one of these switches is shorted out to where it's sending power on that purple line at all times. So that's the issue we're going to correct today. The other thing I got is the knobs. We're just going to replace those as well. So using our ohm meter, we're going to find out which one of these infinite switches is shorted. And we're going to do that by testing from L1 to H1 and L2 to H2 on each infinite switch. Now with them being turned off, we should see either 0L, which means overload or out of limit, or maybe in the mega ohms and possibly high kilo ohms, but at that point, that infinite switch is probably bad as well. So that being said, I'll throw mine up here, but if we see this, where it's 0.3 or under like a few ohms, then we have a short right there. So we're going to start out with these switch here, and we're going to test across H1 and L1, which is the red wire. All right? So 0L, no connection, and then L2 to H2, 0L. We're going to test over here. 0L. Now, let's go back to this number 1. And you're probably wondering why I skipped that one. Well, I cheated. So I already found, first thing I tested was actually L1 to H1. Look right there, 0.3 ohms. Got a problem. L2 to H2, nothing. That's our bad switch. So we're going to change that bad boy out. So to change this thing out, we're just going to pop this knob off, and there's 2 Phillips screws. All right, and then it just pulls through the back. All right, so it just pulls back through here. Now, whenever you change something with multiple wires, the best way to do it, if you have enough slack in the wiring, is to do 1 wire at a time. So we're going to match up the same side here, just like that. And it's always good to verify to make sure you got the right part number. All these numbers match up. Boom, perfect. Okay, so we're just going to do wire by wire. Pilot first. Then we're going to do L1. Then we're going to move L2 over. Then we're going to move H2 over. All right, sometimes you might need a needle nose to pull these off if they've been there for a while. These actually aren't too bad. So we freed that switch up. Then we're going to put that over there. Now, another important thing with the independent switch is to make sure the orientation is right. So it should be standing the same way as the others. So purple on the left, white up top, right? Red, black, bam, done. So we're going to go back around and screw this in. For all my power tool enthusiasts out there, taking it out with the drill is fine, but putting it back in is probably not a great idea. I am the worst offender of them all. This is my own stove. I shall use a screwdriver. All right, so we got that on. Now the knobs are fairly easy. They just go on. Actually, they're very easy, not fairly easy. They go on with a little retaining clip right here, and they just push on. So I actually found a kit of 4 that was cheaper, so that way I didn't get 1 new knob and one's like a discolored from the others. So we got 4 new knobs. We're going to put those on real quick. All right, so just for fun, let's say we're trying to diagnose a bad element. Let's say wifey's trying to, toast some bread, and she said the broil element's not working. So you got to get off the couch, stop watching football, and test this thing out. All right, so the best way to do this is to verify the element is getting power. We're going to use a voltmeter for that, and that it's pulling current. Okay, so what we're going to do is turn the oven on. All right, and we're going to put my leads right on the element terminals. Okay. And you can see across that, we're getting 120. All right. On the bottom, we're getting 240. Okay. So then we're going to put our clamp meter. Then we're going to take our clamp meter and put it around the element wire. Now, one side is going to be jumped off to the other one. So the most reliable side is the one that only has a single wire. And we're pulling 8 amps. So that element is good. Now, if this wasn't pulling any amperage, that means your element is bad. Another way to test is if you take your ohm meter while there's no power on the unit with the thermostat off. The most reliable way is to pull both the terminals off and test just the element leads and ohm it out. Now, usually you'll see something below 100 ohms, usually below 50. All right. So as you can see here, our burner light is no longer on until the infinite switch is turned on. See there, it cuts off. All right, so it's fixed. At this point, we're going to go into the parts finding tutorial. I hope you guys learned something from this video thus far, so make sure you stick around and I'm going to show you how to find parts. Also, I will be monitoring this video, so if you have trouble finding parts for any of your units, just leave a comment below and I'll help you find that part. So the first step, you're going to want to find the data tag, okay? So this one is actually below in the warming drawer. You can pull it out and you'll see it on the left or the right. Sometimes it can be kind of a game of where's Waldo, but eventually, once you find that, get the model and serial number off the unit, and usually I just take a picture because you might need to know the wattage or any other specifications that's listed on there. All right, so the model we pulled off this thing was a JBS07E stove. All right, so we typed the model in on Google, and the manufacturer's website is usually the best resource for that. So we're going to go down until we find a parts breakdown. And you want to verify this looks exactly like your stove. So 4 burners, it's not a glass top, and it's got infinite switches. So we're going to click on that. Okay, so infinite switch is going to be this guy right here, number 3. So go down, GE Electric, and this is the part number right here. So $30 on their site. And then we got knobs is number 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that, copy it, new tab, Amazon, we're going to copy, paste that, and look through this. So you want to make sure the model number, or the part number is the same. And I can get this guy by Tuesday, Thursday. And I always look for, I have Prime, which I'm sure most everybody does. So I look for basically high seller rating, low price, and fast delivery. But as long as the part number here matches up, you should be good. So I'll order off Amazon. All right. Now, if you can't find on Amazon, you'll probably have to order from them, but you can see the price difference. There's even one if you can wait for a while. It's $17, but you can save quite a bit. And then now we're going to look up the knob. Okay, and what I did for the knobs is I actually ordered a pack of 4. That way you don't have one knob that's like bright white and the rest of them are like dingy or yellow colored. That'll drive me crazy. But essentially, that is the most efficient and cheapest way to find parts. If you guys have any trouble finding parts for your unit, I will be monitoring this video, so just post your model and serial number in the comments, and I'll help you best I can to find that part, all right? Appreciate you guys sticking with it. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe so you can find your way back to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.